Hi everyone, my name is Erin and I'll be doing my presentation today on my cross country coach in high school whose name was Coach K. She was a very important influence in my life because she taught me not only about sports but about life in general and how to apply sports to your life in the future. The 5 points that I'm going to focus on are women, deviance in a sport, sporting behavior, development through a sport, and religion in a sport. So the first one that I'm going to focus on are women in a sport because I feel like that one's the most important one in this case. First of all, Coach K was, as you probably figured out, a female coach. Um, and she not only coached the girls cross country team, but the boys cross country team too, which I thought was really cool because you definitely don't see that much. Um, there's definitely a significant number, lower number of women coaches than men coaches, so I thought that was pretty cool. And another thing, because she coached both the boys and the girls cross country teams, she always told us that girls can do anything that boys can, and we have equal opportunities, which I learned this semester were given us by Title IX, and that if there weren't for Title IX, we wouldn't even be able to be running cross country. So I thought that was really cool. And then the last thing for that one, I thought it was awesome that she was our coach because she taught the boys these things too. Because sometimes boys think that they're always going to be better and whatever. But she taught equal opportunity and stuff to the guys on our team. They were always really nice to all the girls and would help us out when we would need it. So that was pretty awesome. The second point that I wanted to talk about was religion in a sport. As I mentioned in a couple of my discussion posts, I went to a Catholic high school, so a lot of things were a little different than compared to if I would have went to a public high school. So religion in the sport was talked about in chapter 15, and we learned that some athletes are scrutinized for displaying their religion during their sport. For us, it was a little different because our whole team was the religion of the school that we went to, so we didn't really get scrutinized by other teammates. But before we would run a race, we would often gather around in a circle and pray. So we were sometimes scrutinized by other athletes and even sometimes other parents. And then Coach K taught us that we shouldn't worry about this because our religion is what brought our group closer than a lot of the other teams were. And for us, this was a norm. At a lot of other schools, it wouldn't be. So Coach K taught us just if you are scrutinized by this, not to worry about it because it was such an important part of our lives that we shouldn't care what other people think. So that's another reason why I really liked her as a coach. And then the next one that I'm going to focus on is deviance in a sport. We learned about deviance in a sport in chapter 18, and we learned that deviance means that we're going away from the norms of the sport. Examples of deviance in a sport are hazing, bullying, and rule breaking. We learned from even at the sports meeting before we even practiced that Coach K wasn't going to allow any deviance in a sport, especially hazing, bullying, anything like that. She was just automatically going to kick us off the team, which I think is good because some coaches don't do that and don't care. Coach K said she didn't care how good of an athlete we were. She was going to kick us off no matter what. We don't always see that because we see some coaches that don't want to kick off their star players. I don't know. I thought that was always a really good thing, and that was teaching us in the future that stuff like that isn't okay no matter who you are. So Coach K stressed that deviance in a sport is unacceptable, and that we were to show respect to everyone around us, including people from other teams such as coaches, parents, officials, and so on. The next one I'm going to talk about is sporting behavior. A couple things tie into what I just talked about with deviance in a sport. But when we talk about sporting behavior, a term that often goes with this is sportsmanship. Coach K definitely taught us sportsmanship. She even taught us how to deal with it when our emotions were high, which often is when it's most difficult for athletes to keep their attitudes at a not going crazy, being calm, even in situations that, say you ran a bad race. She would just come up to you and say, it happens, you'll just run better the next race. And like I said, I never saw Coach K have a bad attitude, yelling at people, which I think was a great influence on our team, because then that showed us that that wasn't okay to do that to anyone, no matter who it was. And another thing that came from chapter 10 with sporting behavior are they talked about different stages, and the stage that I think Coach K was post-conventional, even though the chapter talked about that a lot of people never reached this level, but I honestly think that she did. I think that the stage applied to her because she showed high moral values, and she didn't care if she would. For this stage, like your main focus is to hold high principles, and no matter what the result of your action is to stick with these principles. And no matter what, she would always stick to what she said, no matter if she was going to get in trouble by someone. But usually it wasn't in a bad way. It was just sticking up for someone or something that she really believed in. So that's why I think that she was at the post-conventional level stage. And then my last one that I'm going to talk about is development through a sport. Coach K runs a lot of events and camps for younger kids, which is like the physical activity stage. And basically at this level, she teaches all the kids strategies on how to become a better runner, and also how to work, because cross country is an individual sport, how to work on things such as self-discipline and confidence, which is definitely important in cross country and running sports. She also stressed in these camps teamwork, even though cross country is mostly an individual sport. She always said that it's important to be there for your teammates too, and always help them work to their full potential and reach their full potential. And the only way that they're going to do that is by others around them helping them. And then that's all I had for that. I really loved Coach K as a coach. I would have loved to have had her for all the sports that I played, but obviously she was just a running coach. I think more people need to be coaches like her, because she was not only a great coach, but a great person in general, and she taught me, like I said earlier, so many things that I can use in my college career and also in my professional career. So that's all I have on my presentation. This is my rough draft, so I'd love to have feedback on what I can do to improve it. So thanks, everyone.